Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course, the DiamondKShow.com, on5television.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of things that we need to unpack here, of course. This is interesting time. A very interesting time. We're going to talk about that. Uh, as much as people think that it's over, right? As much as people think that it's over, it appears that as far as in the Northeast, COVID-19 is back. It is making a comeback. It is resurfacing, so to speak. Here, of course, we're going to talk about that in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is reinstating the indoor mask mandate. That's right. Philadelphia reinstating the indoor mask mandate. Yeah, I know a lot of y'all said that it was over. A lot of y'all thought that we were on the other side of this, and it appears not to be the case. So there has been a sharp increase of COVID-19 infections in Philly, and the city's top health officials announced today the confirmed cases have risen more than 50% in 10 days. So more than 50% in 10 days has caused them to shake things up a bit. Now, the threshold at which the city's guidelines call for people to wear masks indoors has been reached, according to their health commissioner. So the city is reporting more than 140 cases per day. 140 cases per day. That is a fraction of what it saw at the height of the Omicron surge. Hospitalizations remain low, so there's no need for panic, nothing to see here, and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to closely watch this. So they say that the recent increase in infections indicates that Philly might be at the beginning of a new wave. Philly might be at the beginning of a new wave. City officials are seeking to stay ahead of it, so they are requiring this indoor mask mandate. That is what's happening. So health inspectors will start to enforce the mask mandate at city businesses starting April the 18th. So next week. Next week, they're going to start that. So we got to look forward to that. And as frequently happens with this kind of stuff, they are going to, do this in other areas. So if you live on the East Coast, like I do, this is something that could affect you. So they're going to be closely watching that. And you're going to hear a lot of talk about this coming up. So cases in the Northeast, partly fueled by the BA2, right? BA2. So the cases continue to tick up. The Northeast is fueling this increase as of right now. 4 of 5 states with the highest 7-day case rates per 100,000 are in the Northeast. So in the 10 states with the highest 7-day rates, 7 are in the Northeast. Rhode Island is currently the highest. They have a 7-day case rate of 172.4 cases per 100,000 people. So you may say that's not that much, right? This is nearly 3 times higher than the national rate of 59 cases per 100,000 people. So there is an increase, right? On Friday, the Ocean State has also seen its highest average daily number of cases increase 53% over a 2-week period from 170 to 260, according to the CDC. So northeastern states seeing this increase. What states are we talking about? We're talking about Vermont, We're talking about New York. We're talking about New Jersey. We are talking about Maine and Connecticut. So, in particular, Jersey and New York have seen their average daily cases increase by 64%. So, I mean, that's definitely something to pay attention to. I don't think it's something to get like totally freaked out about, but it is something to pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? Experts say that one reason for the rise in cases is the spread of the BA2, a subvariant of the original Omicron variant that is more transmissible. So of course everything is more transmissible than the first one, right? They'll go up. Oh yeah, this one, you had that old stuff. This one is even more transmissible than the first one. So they say that every time, though. They say that every time. Everything's more transmissible than the first one. So at least in the Northeast, that accounts for more than 84% of the COVID-19 cases. That is what the CDC is saying. So take that for what it is worth. States that were able to have better control of cases earlier may currently be more vulnerable to infections, so they say. So, I mean, what I've concluded is really, this is going to be an ongoing thing. And I said this a long time ago. This is going to be an ongoing thing that we're just going to have to deal with. States that did a good job controlling the infections with mandates, mostly in the Northeast and the West, are now more susceptible, according to experts. So we estimate, this is what they're saying. We estimate that 54% of the people in Maine have been infected at least once as of April the 4th. 54%. So more than half of the people in the state of Maine, according to experts, have been infected at least once as of April the 4th. So they estimate that 60% are immune. They estimate that 87% of the people in Florida have been infected at least once as of April the 4th. They estimate that in Florida, 80% of the people are immune. So with that being said, this go round, and it's coming, right? It's revving up. Are things going to not be as serious? It appears that way. I mean, they're saying that 54% of the people in the state of Maine have been infected at least once. And they're saying that 60%, so over half of the people in Maine, according to experts, are immune. And then in contrast, Florida, they estimate that 87% of the people in Florida have been infected with COVID-19. And they are estimating that 80% are immune. So another reason that northeastern states may be seeing this increase is due to the lifting of mask and vaccine requirements. That's what experts are saying. Weren't we here already? We've been here before. And I think that we're going to have to keep going through this. Not only, and like I said, every time there's a variant or a subvariant, this is the biggest, most exclusive thing ever that you could ever in the history of, they do that, right? They do that. And then it turns out, not to be what they said. So they're saying that this, this subvariant is extraordinarily transmissible. And consistent with CDC guidelines, many people are going to be going to crowded indoor and outdoor events. They're not going to be wearing a mask. Oh, do you remember CDC is telling them they're not social distancing. They're not doing any of these things. And in anticipation of the summer, people are eager to see their family, see their friends, get out and do what we call normal activities. So experts are warning that the true number of cases is actually going to be higher in some states, and there may be a need to shift COVID-19 strategies. So what's going to happen here? This is just going to be another one of those things where they're going to be playing it by ear. They're going to be playing it by ear and trying to figure this out as we go along. COVID-19. Are you scared of COVID-19? A lot of people are not. But Philly, as I said, Philly is requiring masks indoor public spaces as COVID-19 cases rise. Yeah. So just because they're the first, I don't think that this is going to be the only case. So Philly is the first major city to reinstate its indoor mask mandate. So starting Monday, April the 18th, cases are quickly rising. So they have done this starting today. I'm asking all businesses and institutions in Philadelphia to dig up those old mask required signs and start hanging them in your windows. So here in Baltimore, it has, it's kind of spotty. Some places, have the sign up, but then you go in the store and then the people that work there don't have the mask on. So then you may feel comfortable. Oh, I'm just going to take my mask off. That happens a lot. And, I think that folks have gotten laxed. Folks have got comfortable. And last week, city health officials announced that they were considering the mask mandate in Philly and considering to recommend that people start wearing masks indoors in public, even though the city was at a level 1 all clear restriction level. Well, that may change. That may change. In order to remain at level 1, the city's COVID-19 metrics must meet 2 or more requirements. New daily cases must stay below 100, right? Hospitalizations must be below 50, and cases must have increased by less than 50% in the previous 10 days. So that is a threshold that they have, jumped over. They have surpassed that, and that's how we got where we are as far as Philly. So the nation is going to be watching Philly. The average person may not be watching, right? But let me say this. The CDC is watching Philly. Your elected officials are watching Philly. And they are going to, depending on where you live and your proximity to Pennsylvania, may be following suit. Who knows? So they have surpassed level 1 requirements. So the mask precautions are coming indoors. Like I said, I don't want people to get all bent out of shape about this. Indoors in Philly starting Monday, they want you to wear masks. All right, not a big deal right now. But many states see cases rising. Now, is it in extreme levels? No, it's not extreme levels, not yet. Hopefully it won't get there. But nationwide, cases are trending upwards in more than half of the states. Now, the numbers are still relatively low, averaging around 34,000 new cases per day. The U.S. remains one of the lowest daily rates since the middle of July 21. All right. So it is expected that COVID-19 cases will rise and fall over the course of the pandemic. They're going to go up, they're going to come down, they're going to go up, they're going to come down. That's kind of what it is. Right. And so right now we're at a point where we're seeing this slight increase in terms of what to do about it. Well, the government is going to be following the CDC guidelines. That's what he's going to point to. Oh, hey, according to the CDC, you know what I mean? But the CDC policy is right on this, and that's what most people have been doing, right? That's what most businesses have been doing. It's what most government agencies have been doing. And so according to that, that's why this mask mandate indoors is even a topic of conversation again, because they are pointing to the CDC guidelines and that's what's happening there. So just tune in. It's your man Dominic K in here, the DominiCShow.com, onfiretelevision.com. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And when I say quick, I say quick, and I mean quick. I mean, like, we'll be back in Okay, and we are back. Your man Dominic K in here, the DominiCShow.com, onfiretelevision.com. Now, the Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is a community-based wellness space driven by local business partnerships and provides health-conscious foods and products. They are located at 1301 North Broadway in Baltimore. The Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Check out what they have. Plant-based food, cold-pressed juice, wellness products like sage, crystals, organic loose herbs, and more. They have apparel. There's plenty of educational resources. If you need a place to meet or work, they have Wi-Fi available. The Legendary Lifestyle Cafe has delivery options. Check them out on social media at Legendary Lifestyle Cafe or visit legendarylifestylecafe.com. So we were talking about COVID-19. I don't even want to say spiking, slight rises in case numbers in the Northeast and in Philly, to the point that they are reinstating the indoor mask mandate starting on next Monday. So we're going to continue to follow that. And you're seeing sharp rises in New York and New Jersey, not to the point where you need to, panic or anything, but just watching that. In Maryland, the legislature entered its last day. Most of the priorities are pretty much done. So they entered this last day, their last session, with the most, high profile cases have already been passed into law, including tax relief, paid family leave program, an extension measure aimed at slowing climate change. So they got done all of the things that they could and would get done. Democrats control the legislature. And of course, Republican Governor Larry Hogan, wants to cause as much confusion as he can. He's already signed a bipartisan budget deal. It features nearly $1.86 billion in tax relief over 5 years for Maryland retirees, small businesses, and low-income families in a year of enormous budget surplus. Now, the state's budget is $58.5 billion. Did you know we had all that money? Did you know the state had all that money? So the deal has this tax credit incentive for employers and businesses to hire and retain workers from underserved communities. It also includes sales tax exemptions for childcare products like diapers, car seats, baby bottles, health products for dental hygiene, diabetic care, and medical devices. Yeah, so they did get some remarkable things done, considering the time that we're in. So the Senate President Bill Ferguson said after Saturday's session that they've passed an incredible budget that invests in Maryland and gives money back to taxpayers, invests in seniors and working families. So here's what happens. They do these things to try to set up re-election campaign, priorities. Oh, we did this, we did that, we did this. I mean, and that's what you're supposed to do. Right? That's what you're supposed to do if you're trying to get reelected. Now, if you're trying to help the people, right, sometimes they would need to go a little bit further than they go. I think they go just to the edge and say, okay, yeah, we're good, right? We have enough campaign material and we're good. You can run on reelection on that, and we're good. We want to do just enough to have something to talk about, but not enough to actually make a difference. Right? Because when we talk about giving money back to taxpayers, people are still broke. Right? What did you do, actually? Right? When you talk about investing in seniors, did you really, though? When it comes to the accountability piece, I mean, I can go on and on about this, right? Working families, what working families? Show me who has been helped by this. Whoever is helped. Anytime. It doesn't have to be this one because this hasn't, just going into effect. But tell me when. Why? We never see it. Right? We never see it. It's just something, like I said, it's something that they point to talk about, right? It's like an album. Somebody has an album and it lists this song, right? But you don't ever hear those songs. Right? It's kind of like that, right? You're going to have these features on your album, but you never actually see the features, right? You just name it. Like, well, what song is such and such on? They said they got a guest. I don't even see the guest on the album. It's kind of like that. That's what politicians do. At least the bad ones. The bad ones do that. You man, Dominic K. in here, the Dominic K. Show, the DominiCShow.com, onfiretelevision.com. So Democrats still had their disagreements with the governor, Larry Hogan, term limited. He's in his last year in office. He's what you call a lame duck governor. He's not going to be around this time next year. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I call him a lame duck. But anyway, they had their beef with him, and I have long since had a lot of things to say about Larry Hogan. Glad to see him go, actually. Okay, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Lawmakers overrode Hogan's veto on Saturday to create a paid family leave insurance program. That is something that has been discussed for years by the state. And of course, Larry Hogan had to veto that. Why would he do something crazy like paid family leave? Right? Why would he do something crazy like that? Maryland workers will be able to take up to 12 weeks of partially paid leave to deal with such family issues as, I don't know, having a baby, caring for a sick relative, dealing with a military deployment. Up to 24 weeks could be taken in some cases, such as when someone who took 12 weeks due to an illness, has a child later or something like that. It has to be, like special circumstances. But for the most part, that's what it is. They also overrode the governor's veto of legislation to expand access to abortion in the state. So Maryland will end a restriction that only physicians perform abortions, enabling nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, and physician assistants with training to perform them as well. Is there like this big need for this? Like, what is that all about, right? If I don't want anybody to get an abortion, right? But if you have to get an abortion, I mean, I would hope that the actual physician performed it. But I guess with the training, they don't have to be a doctor to do this. Is troubling, to say the least. But they passed the the broad measure aimed at slowing climate change. This is something that climate change. I don't understand how we can even debate that this is a real thing, climate change. But you still have folks on the right, Republicans, GOP, the grand old party, still refusing to recognize the obvious effects of climate change. So that's just a debate that's going to happen over and over and over and over again. There was also some constitutional amendments to legalize recreational marijuana in July 2023. So I know some folks are going to be excited about that. So the final decision, it will be given to the voters in November, but a measure that lawmakers passed to take the initial steps toward the implementation went into law without Hogan's signature. So, like I said, Hogan, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Licensing and taxing issues will be taken up next year if the voters approve. I predict that they will. Legislators and the governor also agreed to a new congressional map for the state. So you remember that the judge struck down the map approved by lawmakers over Hogan's veto in December. And they said that it was a product of extreme gerrymandering, right? Manipulating the voters and in the lines, right, of the districts, right? That's what that is. Anyway, the General Assembly drew the state's 8 U.S. House districts to be more compact, and Hogan signed the measure last week. Also, the measure sought to ban so-called ghost guns. These are guns that do not have any serial numbers. You can't track them. So they call them ghost guns. So this is going into law without Hogan's signature, because why would he want to do something crazy like that, right? It's Larry Hogan. He's a Republican. So, they never saw a gun that they didn't like. Serial number, no serial number. Yeah, they don't even care. Lawmakers overrode Hogan's veto of the bill to require firearms dealers to have certain security measures in places as stores. So they want to make it, Democrats in this instance are right. They want to make it easier to track these guns, right? But opponents want to fight that. So the president had a whole presentation today about ghost guns, and we're going to get into some of that. So there was a what do you call it? There was a whole thing at the White House today, right? And whenever I get to see the president talk, it's just, you never know if this is going to be, if this is going to be a good speech that the president gives or a bad speech. But the president and VP Harris were in attendance today as they took aim at ghost gun violence with a new federal rule. So the president, he's been, I guess, consistent with this topic. So the president took this fresh aim today. The ghost guns are privately made firearms. These are guns that they make at home. They don't have serial numbers and are increasingly popping up in violent crimes. So as he struggles through this gridlock in DC, he tries to address the gun deaths, mass shootings, something that is plaguing our nation, right? So Biden highlighted the Justice Department's work to finalize new regulations to crack down on ghost guns. As I said, these are the guns that are made at home that don't have serial numbers. Why is this even a debate? Don't have serial numbers, right? We need to be able to track them. So anyway, he's trying to crack down on this. And they also announced the nomination of Steve Dettelbach, who served as the U.S. Attorney in Ohio from 2009 to 2016 to run the ATF. So law enforcement is sounding the alarm, the president said, talking about these ghost guns, these guns without serial numbers that they're making at home. And he said that our communities are paying the price. He promised the new regulations would save lives. Still, the announcement on ghost guns highlights the limits of Biden's influence to push a sweeping congressional overhaul of the nation's firearm laws in response to both the recent surge in violence, crime, the continuance of mass shootings. Congress has been pretty much deadlocked on any legislative proposal to reform gun laws. I don't know, for like 10 years, more than that, 12 years probably. The executive actions have faced stiff problems in federal courts, even as the Democratic base has grown more vocal in calling on Biden to take more action. It is still a challenge. It is still an uphill battle. Dettelbach's confirmation, too, is likely to be an uphill battle. Biden had to withdraw the nomination of his first ATF nominee, a gun control advocate, David Chipman, after it was stalled for months because of opposition from Republicans and even some Democrats in the Senate. So he's going to try this again. And, I think it's going to be a tough battle. Both Republicans and Democratic administrations have failed to get nominees for the ATF position through the politically fraught process. I mean, it is always a battle. At least it's been a battle since 2006 when the director's position was made confirmable. Since then, only one nominee, U.S. Attorney or former U.S. Attorney B. Todd Jones, has been confirmed. Jones made it through the Senate in 2013, but only after a 6-month struggle. Jones was acting director when President Obama nominated him back in 2013. So the Biden administration's plan on guns was first reported by the good folks over at Politico. So gun owners of America vowed it would immediately fight this rule. So no surprise there. And so, the new rule changes the current definition of a firearm under federal law to include unfinished parts. So here's the little loophole. The little loophole that they go through when they're talking about this is when folks buy the ghost guns, as they're calling them, they're not assembled. So because they're not assembled, this is the little sneaky stuff that they do. Because they're not assembled, it does not, classify as a gun. So then they're saying we don't have to have a serial number for it because it's not a gun when they buy it. But they make it a gun at home, right? But they already have, so it's real sneaky stuff, and it's not genuine. And I'm absolutely sure that it is not in the spirit of the law, the way that it is done, but they found a way around it. And by changing this definition, changing the definition to include unfinished parts, like the frame of a handgun or the receiver of a long gun, if you include it in the definition, then those parts must be licensed and include serial numbers, and that will hopefully stop some of these ghost guns from getting out there without being able to be traced. So manufacturers must also run background checks before a sale. Now, this is something that they have to do with other commercially made firearms, so it shouldn't be a big deal. The requirement applies regardless of how the firearm was made, meaning it includes ghost guns made from individual parts or kits or by 3D printers. So that's what the president is doing. And we're going to see whether, that they're going to be upset about this, right? So they're upset about this. This we know, no surprise there, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the president does not have the kind of pull that he needs. But we're gonna see. I don't know. I don't know if he's up for the fight. I don't know if he is, built for this. As Marilyn Mosby, Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, says that she built for this. I don't know if Joe Biden is built for this. I don't. I don't. And if somebody does know, I'd like to I'd like to hear about it. In Baltimore news, the Baltimore police detective Robert Hankert has been convicted on federal charges. The jury today convicted the Baltimore police detective on multiple federal crimes. Hankard was convicted of, providing a BB gun that would be planted on the suspect, falsely testifying in federal grand juries, falsifying an application for a search warrant and an arrest report, falsely testifying to a federal grand jury in a federal investigation and falsifying an application for a search warrant and subsequent police report related to the search of the apartment. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, Eric L. Barron, and Special Agent in Charge Thomas Sabonsky of the FBI and the Baltimore field office announced this conviction. Today's conviction further demonstrates this office's continuing commitment to protect the civil rights of all Marylanders, including the egregious instances of police misconduct. That is what the U.S. State's Attorney for the District of Maryland said today in the news release. I commend the outstanding work of the Assistant U.S. State's Attorney, Leo J. Wise, and others in obtaining this guilty verdict, and recognize the FBI's special agents and task force officers who conducted this investigation. So that was announced today. And it is it's one of those things, man. It's just police corruption is something that, I understand that the folks the cops don't like to hear it, but it's something that really gets at the heart of why the relationship is so bad between citizens and the police. Now, when you get the crooked cops, and this is an example of a crooked cop, Hankard faces a maximum sentence. You ready for this? Maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison for conspiracy to commit offenses against the United States, a maximum of 10 years in federal prison for conspiracy to deprive civil rights, and a maximum of 20 years in federal prison for each of the 2 counts of falsification records in a federal investigation, and a maximum of 5 years in federal prison for the false declarations before the grand jury. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think he's getting all that time, right? I mean, let's just be honest. I don't think he's getting all that time. He may get some time, but they ain't giving him all that. Okay, so don't get discouraged. He's not getting all that time. I don't know. Will Smith will probably still not be able to go to the Oscars before this guy will come home before Will Smith is able to go to the Oscars, in my opinion. Now, he deserves more time than that, obviously, but we're going to continue to follow this case. I mean, it's just police corruption is something that nobody likes, right? It is abusing your privileges, abusing the privileges. Now, a child's death in Southwest Baltimore, this row home fire, is actually being investigated as a homicide. Police said that a mattress fire inside a Southwest Baltimore row home on Friday that resulted in the death of a young girl is actually being investigated as a homicide. So 6 p.m. on Friday, the 4700 block of Vancouver Road crews arrived after a fire was reported. The death has been included in Baltimore's homicide numbers. So the current total homicides in Baltimore is at 88. The cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner's office. Just a sad thing there. The family of that young child is in our thoughts and prayers. Definitely a sad thing. I mean, just you hate to see something like that. And for folks that are in Baltimore, earlier today, maybe this afternoon, there was an Amber Alert issued for a 12-year-old boy in Maryland. Right, it was outside of Baltimore. In Maryland, a Carroll County boy, 12 years old. Maryland police officers issued this Amber Alert, and they said they're searching for Max Geiger, last seen in Hampstead with his father, Chris Lewis Geiger. Child may also be in the Westminster area of Carroll County. Data is possible, right? It is a young white boy, blonde hair, brown eyes, 5'3", weighs about 120 pounds. The father is 6 feet tall, 230 pounds, blonde hair, green eyes. Police are searching for his 2021 Jeep Wrangler. He gave the plates and all that kind of stuff. So anybody has information, 410-386-3001. No more information other than that. But when those alarms go off, I'm like, is there a storm coming? Like, it makes this obnoxious noise. And that obviously is to get your attention, and just whatever you're doing, it just, you're looking like, what is going on? Of course, On Fire Television is the producer of the Dominic K Show, and we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews, original reporting from across the country. I like to be upbeat, I like to have fun, but I also want to talk about what is really happening. I'm going to give you politics from an independent perspective. If a Republican is wrong, I'm going to call them out. If a Democrat is wrong, I'm going to call them out too. And you can join me 6 p.m. daily right here, thedominicshow.com, onfiretelevision.com. Hit that subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the like button. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can just search The Dominic K Show, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, youtube.com/DJ Dominic K. Download the WRF Radio app. We are an advertiser-supported audio and video network. You can get breaking news, podcasts, TV shows, all covering topics that are important to our culture, and we celebrate people of color. I will be here tomorrow, 6 p.m., a lot going on, and I will see you guys then.